In just a few days, this quarter will end, and the classes you have been taking will come to a conclusion. It's been a joy to have you in this class. You've worked hard, and I want to encourage you to continue your work and your effort, and it will pay off. Even though classes for this quarter will end soon, I hope this is one class you will never forget. It's a class I hope that you will apply in your everyday life, and you will make smart money decisions, and you will have a spending and savings plan that works for you. Well, today we're going to talk about some questions and answers from the financial world. These questions came from students I taught in a traditional classroom setting in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. We will deal with those. What should you expect to learn? Well, you'll learn several practical answers to financial questions. You'll learn what to expect in the first 30, 60, and 90 days of budgeting. And then I want to tell you about a wonderful free tool for making budgeting a snap. The first question for us to discuss today deals with medical needs versus a capital campaign. You are making contributions to a church capital campaign. You made your pledge and have been fulfilling that commitment ever since you made the commitment. However, things have changed. You have a relative with a serious medical need. The problem is not going to go away soon. It's not going to be cured easily. What should you do? Help your relative with their medical expenses, or continue to pay your capital campaign commitment? Consider the moral proximity. You remember we talked about this in a previous narrated PowerPoint. The moral proximity is that person God puts in your path who is the closest to you. So here we find a serious medical need. I would encourage you to consider that moral proximity, and in doing so, then put the capital campaign on hold and help your relative. Here's another question. It deals with teaching stewardship in churches. I hear many pastors bragging about the fact that they never preach or teach on the subject of stewardship. Shame on you if you're one of those, because it's a matter of lordship. Stewardship's not about giving money. It's about lordship and following the Lord in terms of doing what He asks us to do. So giving should be a part of every Christian disciple's plan for their lives. Use a stewardship program. You can use any that you want. The Southern Baptist Convention has a number of excellent stewardship programs you can use. Dave Ramsey has some for churches. Ron Blue also from Indiana Wesleyan, and Crown Financial Ministries. Most of what we have used in this course has either come from Crown Financial Ministry or Dave Ramsey. But you need to teach your people about stewardship. When I was an active pastor, the month of January was always Stewardship Month. I taught and preached for 4 weeks on the subject of stewardship. I would encourage you to consider that as well. One reason I chose January is that it's the month of new beginnings. It's a time to make new commitments. What about the church and the homeless? What is the church's responsibility to homeless individuals? One of the things we need to define is, what do we mean by the homeless? Some are homeless and it's a temporary condition. However, some choose that as a lifestyle. Some of those who are homeless have mental health issues, or they abuse substances such as alcohol or other drugs. Get to know the individual. Get to know their story. Then ask yourself the question, does the church have resources to help? You need to not only look at their immediate need, but their long-term need. Develop contacts in the mental health community to refer individuals. And then use discernment. Depend upon the Holy Spirit to show you what to do and how to help those individuals. These are some general rules for generosity. What about lawsuits in the church? Well, we can read in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 1 through 3, and find some direction. Let me read those verses. Does any one of you, when he has a case against his neighbor, dare to go to law before the unrighteous, and not before the saints? Or do you not know that the saints will judge the world? And if the world is judged by you, are you not competent to constitute the smallest law courts? Do you not know that we shall judge angels? How much more matters of this life? And then skip down to verse 7. Actually then, it is already a defeat for you that you have lawsuits with one another. Why not rather be wronged? Why not rather be defrauded? Generally speaking, a Christian needs to absorb the grievance, unless it is a great wrong. Look at lawsuits case by case. What about helping those who are poor money managers? Perhaps a family just keeps coming back to the church again and again for help, but they then use the funds unwisely. What should you do? If they squander the money, do you give them more money? Perhaps you could provide them some help, but provide strings with it. We will help you, but you're going to need to help yourself by taking a money management class. In this way, you might be able to help them. Hopefully, these questions and answers will help you in the practical, day-by-day application of principles of Christian finance. Attribution for the following tips goes to Ramsey Solutions. Now, when it comes to budgeting, we're all wondering, am I doing it right? Well, you can stop second guessing. The fact that you're budgeting at all means you're doing it right. It usually takes people about 3 months to feel confident in this new skill. So relax. You'll get there too. Now what about the first 30 days? Well, this is a month that you simply are getting started using a budgeting process. So take the pressure off yourself. Don't be perfect. Just start the habit. Make your budget, then focus on sticking to it and tracking your transactions. It's okay if your electric bill turns out to be a little higher or lower than you expected. It happens. So just adjust another category, like entertainment or eat out, to keep your budget in check. And then the first 60 days, it's time to learn from the previous month. Now that you've been tracking your expenditures and your income, for 30 days you can rely upon hard data rather than just guesswork to make your next money plan. Look at the categories you over or underspent on last month. Do you need to plan an amount for groceries that's more than your original plan, or do you need to lower it some? Make a few tweaks and see how they hold up to reality. Then in the first 90 days, you've tracked and tweaked your budget. Now it's time to evaluate how you're spending your money. In other words, it's time to start shaping your budget around your goals. Do you want to pay down debt? Save for a vacation? Invest more for retirement? Well, play around with your budget, starting from the highest priority to the lowest. For example, start with giving, then saving, then necessities, then move to wants. This should help you reach your goals faster by focusing more of your money where you want it. When you have prepared for the month ahead, managing your money becomes way less stressful. And if your budget gets off track, no big deal. Simply refocus and keep moving forward. You're still way ahead of the curve. In just a moment, you will see a simple budgeting tool called Every Dollar Counts. Dave Ramsey provides this budgeting tool at the right price. That is, free. It's a free, simple budgeting tool. It's a tool that I have been using for many months, and it is a great help. It cuts out much of the argumentation that you have with your spouse over your budget. You can see your budget in black and white without using paper and ink. It's a great tool. I would encourage you to go to www.everydollarcounts.com and get a free download for your smartphone, your computer, or your tablet. Now, the Ramsey organization does offer a premium or paid subscription to Every Dollar Counts Plus, but you certainly do not need to use it. As a matter of fact, I don't use it. I'm a proponent of this process, and I would encourage you to at least try it. You can take much of the material that you have already gathered and plug it into this budgeting form, and you'll be surprised how it helps you. You're able to put in all of the planned expenditures you have for the month. Then you can enter what you actually spent and see the difference. It's a tremendous budgeting tool. Now, let's watch this video tutorial that explains how Every Dollar Counts really works.
Hey everyone, this is Craig Dacey here with Craig Dacey Financial Coaching, and today I'm going to be teaching you all about how to use the Every Dollar website. And so the Every Dollar site is something that Dave Ramsey's company, Ramsey Solutions, created, and it's a budgeting resource, a completely free online budgeting resource that you can use to plan your monthly budget to get yourself set up to succeed. As you know, I'm a firm believer that budgeting is the foundation of everything when it comes to personal finance. Before you can make any good traction in your finances, having a budget is essential. And so since I am a Ramsey Solutions financial coach, I am even more of a believer in this program. But it's not just because I've trained with them, it's largely because I use this myself. My wife and I started out with paper and pencil budgets, and we started using this Every Dollar budget as soon as it came out, and that's what we use every month. And what's great about it is not only can you get online, we get on the computer and do it all, so it's all digital, but it does sync to our phones. So on our Apple phone, we have the app for it, and they actually have it for Android now as well. And you can have the app so you have your budget with you wherever you go. You can track expenses through it. It's really great. Now they do have a Every Dollar Plus option, and that basically syncs to your bank account. However, you do have to pay for that. But if you don't want to sync it to your bank account, the free option is perfectly fine. That's what I use. I use the free version. So today I'm just going to give you an overview and a step-by-step how to create a budget on Every Dollar. Now, first thing you're going to want to do is just go to everydollar.com and create a login. Okay, so I've already logged in and I've already set up my August budget. Now, with your August budget, when you're ready to set up a budget, you'll do your first one, and you're really going to have to start from scratch with that. However, as you get going forward, I'm going to skip ahead all the way to November just to show you what this looks like. When you are ready for your next month's budget, something's going to pop up that looks like this. It says, hey there, looks like you need a budget for November. We'll copy October's budget for you. We're not in October yet, but it's going to copy the previous month's budget. So that way things that are ongoing, your fixed expenses like your mortgage and your cable bill or phone bill, whatever that usually stays the same, is just going to be carried over. So you don't have to re-enter all those things. Okay, so I'm going to go back over here to August, and there it goes. Okay, so here we have our Every Dollar budget, and our goal here, and I've already entered some fields in, so I'm going to tweak it around with you as we go, and I'm going to show you what you can and can't do, what you can add in, how you can really personalize this to you. So again, this, actually I didn't say this yet, this is not my personal Every Dollar account. This is a sample one that I create when working with clients or for videos like this. So the numbers in here you see are not my personal budget or my personal income. This is a mock budget right here. All right, so let's start out with our August income. So income is at the top, and right now I have it set up with one paycheck. So if you get one paycheck a month, you can enter it like that. If you want to add in a second paycheck, let's say you get paid every 2 weeks, so you can add in paycheck 2. I'm going to go ahead and just tweak this so that it's showing you get paid twice a month, $2,500 each. We're going to, for the sake of this budget, we're going to say that they make $5,000 a month. You can add in other things like child support income. If you have renters, if you're renting a property, you can add that income in. Whatever you want, you can add as much income sources as you need or as you get. So put that in there. Make sure you You account for everything because you want to make sure every dollar coming in is being assigned to something. So think of any income source you have, make sure it's up here at the top. All right, the next thing we're going to look at is giving. So I just have a blanket charities right here for $100. Again, you can add different things. If you donate to church, you can add a church item. You can add a humane society. Let's say you donate to the Humane Society. So whatever you donate to, you can tweak around in here. So if we don't want to be so vague, we can say maybe you give $50 to the church and $50 to Humane Society. We're keeping it at a zero-based budget. Okay, so as we go down further, we have our savings. Right now I have $0 planned in the emergency fund. It just depends on what baby step you're on. With this one, I was working with a client who already had baby step 1 done, so they had their $1,000 emergency fund set up already. So every extra dollar they were making is going towards debt, which you'll see at the bottom of this budget. If you are on baby step 3, you're debt free, you're building your emergency fund, well, this line item right here, or if you're on baby step 1 trying to build that beginner emergency fund, this line item is going to be pretty important and you're going to be putting money into it. But for this budget right here, we're going to pretend this is somebody in baby step 2 who's really focused on paying off their debt. So there's not going to be any money going into savings. All right, your housing. So this person, their mortgage is $1,500 a month. That's a fixed expense. So it's going to be the same every month. HOA dues. Now, there's 2 ways you can do HOA dues. Some neighborhoods, if you have HOA dues, some neighborhoods do quarterly expenses. So it may be $120 every quarter, or maybe $90 every quarter. So you can budget, if it's $90 every quarter, you can budget $30, and then every 3 months save that $30 and you got $90. Or you can, if it's monthly, whatever. So make sure you're accounting for those things, setting that money aside each month so that way you have it ready and you're not all of a sudden in January going, oh my gosh, HOA is due this month, and you're not sure where it's going to fit into your budget. Water bill, that's going to be more of a variable expense. It's going to change month to month. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on that. Same with gas, and if you have natural gas. Electricity, again, it's going to change up and down depending on the time of year, usage. It's August, so it's going to be a higher electric bill. Your phone bills, so whatever you're paying on your phone, I recommend making sure you, 1, know how much you have. 2, it's always worth calling your company to see if they can lower your bill for you, but make sure you include that. If you have cable, if garbage, trash isn't included, I know in our neighborhood it's included with the water. It's just utilities. If it's not, don't forget to include that. And any other household expenses. So if you have anything else that goes with your household, if you have pest control, if you have lawn care that you have taken care of, if you have anything like that, make sure you're including those items on this list. So whatever you're spending money on every month, do not forget to include it. And the good thing is, like I said, after you do this once and you really rack your brain thinking of everything you're going to spend your money on, it's going to carry over for the next months and in the future. So you're not going to have to do this every time. So the good news is you'll have, let's add in pest control. If pest control is something that pops up every few months, well, it's there. It's going to remind you not to forget to budget for that. All right, transportation, gas and oil. So saving for those oil changes if you need them. Making sure you have money, gas money allocated, and then car replacement. I recommend you save a little bit of money every month because we all know that cars are going to break. So you don't want to have to dip into that beginner emergency fund if you're in baby step 2 because your car needs new tires. It's not an emergency. We know your car is going to break and it's going to need repairs. So start saving that money aside now, just a little bit every month. This budget, it's $50 a month. They're going to have an account set aside for when that car needs repairs. And again, anything else transportation related, if you have a monthly membership to car washes, whatever you do, make sure you include it in there. Food, I like to separate groceries and restaurants personally. Some people like to do all food encompassed in one. This helps me make sure that I'm doing my grocery shopping, and also if I'm going to be going out to eat, that I don't overspend on the restaurant side, because I love eating out and then have no money left for groceries. So this person has a $600 grocery bill. Restaurants, making sure you're keeping track of that. Groceries, if you budget a certain amount, next month you may realize, wow, we had $200 extra. So if that's the case, well, let's say the past 2 months we've really only spent $400. Well, then I'm going to adjust it to $400 because I don't want to be overfunding this area if I'm having a surplus every month. I want to make sure these 200 extra dollars are being put to use. And then the opposite is true. If I'm spending more than 600 every month, well, then I need to put some more money in that account so that way I'm not going over budget each month. All right. As you're going down, pets. If you got to buy some dog or cat food, go to the vet. Don't forget to include those things. So the vet always sneaks up on my wife and I. I don't know why. We always forget. We get the postcard in the mail that it's time for their shots, and we didn't account for it in the budget. And we always seem to have to go back and add it in. So don't forget about your pets. Clothing. This person that I was working with didn't need to add in clothing. You have childcare if you pay for childcare, if you have children, school tuitions, any subscriptions, magazines, memberships, whatever. If your kids are into sports, gym memberships, all these things you need to be accounting for. I love every dollar because it makes sure to include things that you don't always think about, like prescriptions. Miscellaneous, I recommend having at least a little bit of miscellaneous. What this is for is if something pops up that you didn't think about. And that's what my wife and I do. We budget just a little bit of money every month that we're going, oh no, we've totally forgot that we need to replace the filter in our water filter in our fridge. It may not be an emergency, but we have a little bit of cash set aside if we need to do that. Or somebody's birthday that we just totally forgot to budget for. And on that note, we're going to add in birthdays right here because that's super important. If you know some people who are having birthdays, decide whose birthday it is this month, how much you're going to spend on them, and plan for it. So if you've got 2 birthdays coming up and you know you're going to spend 25 on each person, well, let's add in that $50. They're planned for now. We can buy them their gift and not have to worry about it. Insurances, a lot of health insurances are coming out of your paycheck through work. Life insurance, if you're insured through your employer with life insurance, I would highly recommend you start shopping around outside your employer, only because in the event that you're laid off, you would lose your life insurance and you don't want to be uncovered. So before you go doing any big decisions like that, speak to an insurance agent or a coach or somebody who can walk you through that and make sure you're making the right choices. But typically your life insurance is going to be an outside purchase. We have term life insurance, and I want to say for the 2 of us, it's like $20 a month. It's super cheap. Auto insurance, don't forget about your auto. Let's say it's $70. Cool. And we have $10 left to budget. And down here is debt, which already had some surplus from last month. And so student loan is my minimum payment of $300. And my debt snowball, we're going to pretend I have 2 debts on this one. I have a credit card and a student loan. The credit card would have a balance of, let's say, $5,000. The student loan is $20,000. Well, the debt snowball says I'm going to do minimum payments on both, and then I'm going to attack the smallest debt aggressively. So this credit card, if it's a balance of $5,000, well, I'm going to take everything else I have besides this $300 minimum payment and whatever's left up here. So after I put the $300 up here, this is what I have left. Right here up at the top is how much I have left to budget for the month. That $1,420. So that needs to be sent somewhere. That's not just bonus money at the end of the month. That's not just leftover. So even after my minimum payment on my credit card, if it's a $50 payment, this up here is what I need to assign to something. This is going to go whatever baby step you're on, this is what you should do with this money. So if you're on baby step 2, don't get too attached to this $1,370. We're going to add it to this credit card payment because we want this check mark, this green little check mark that says it's an every dollar budget. That means it's a zero-based budget. You've budgeted every single dollar. Every dollar in your income has an assignment and is ready to go. So this is how you write a budget. Again, personal finance, I tell my clients this all the time. Personal finance is completely personal. Your budget is going to look different than someone else's. If you're married, sit down with your spouse, decide together where your priorities lie, how much you want to cut where. You may want to take this restaurant budget right here and cut it completely so you can add an extra 150. Maybe the idea of not going out to eat every month is terrifying to you and you think you're going to get burned out. Decide how aggressive you want to be. But do remember that the sooner you get out of debt, the sooner you can start building wealth, the sooner you can start giving, the sooner you can start enjoying your money. So the deeper you cut, the deeper we sacrifice now in our budgets, the sooner we're going to be able to enjoy it. But you decide how much you want to sacrifice. All right, once you have your every dollar budget, I highly recommend you get your cash envelopes for things like groceries, your restaurants. get an envelope, put this $400 cash in a grocery envelope, put this $150 restaurants into a restaurant envelope, and now you have it cash so you can't overspend it. You want to make sure you're sticking to this budget. A budget does no good if you write it and then just do whatever you want and ignore it completely. It's like having a blueprint to a house. You have to follow that blueprint when building that house. If someone handed a builder a blueprint and they just went ahead and built the house however they felt like, well, it's not going to be done the way it's supposed to be. So just like this, consider this your blueprint for the month. You need to follow it to the T, okay? All right, guys, if you need help coming up with a budget, budgeting is one of the biggest things 9 out of 10 people I work with as clients in financial coaching. We work on budgeting. It's something I'm super passionate about, and I truly believe, like I said at the beginning of this video, that budgeting will set you up to succeed with whatever you do. It's the foundation of all personal finance. So if you need help setting up your foundation, email me at info@craigdacey.com, or you can visit craigdacey.com right here and check out my website, and there's some links down there for you to shoot me an email, see what I'm about. I would love to work with you. We can sit down face to face through Skype, over the phone, and I can really help you hash out your budget and get you set up no matter what baby step you're on, whether you're still paying off debt, whether you're ready to start building wealth and getting ready for retirement. I'm here to help, and I can really help you fine tune that budget and get you to where you're wanting to go. All right, guys, thank you so much. If you have any questions, even if it's something about every dollar you're not sure, I was a little confusing, you just want something to be clarified, just email me there again, info@craigdacey.com, and I can shoot you a response within 24 hours. All right, guys, thank you, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.